With the lines between the living and the dead slowly fading in the MCU, just what state of being are Vision and Quicksilver really in? With what we have seen in Wandavision, there is some debate as to whether these characters are truly alive or still dead. Welcome watchers of the Marvel Multiverse, this is the voice of the Marvelous Wave, let us observe all that occurs. For any of you who are fans of Marvel Comics, death is a regular occurrence. Heroes and villains die and are reborn quite often. After the events of Infinity War and Endgame, this phenomenon seems like it will now become part of the MCU, with just about half of everyone in the universe basically dying when Thanos snapped the Infinity Gauntlet, and then brought back with Iron Man's snap. That line has become a bit blurred. But just how blurred is it? There does still seem to be some rules that keep the dead in the grave, at least so far. The deaths of Iron Man, Black Widow, Heimdall, and Odin, just to name a few, seem to be gone with no chance of returning. However, others have cheated death. In a way. Loki and Gamora simply didn't die due to changes in the timeline. Doctor Strange and Wong cheated death because of the Eye of Agamotto. Even Phil Coulson died and was brought back using Kree technology, but with some fairly nasty side effects. But even with these examples, in the case of Vision and Quicksilver, the circumstances are quite a bit different. One of the first things to keep in mind with Vision is that he's a robot, and robots can be repaired, but the source of his sentience and power is a large part of why his return is questionable, especially because the Mind Stone has been both destroyed and returned to the timeline from where it came. So what exactly is it that has allowed Vision to return and give him his life back? One possibility is that part of his return came from Wanda directly, not so much her abilities, but the fact that she received her powers from the Mind Stone. And all those who remember in Age of Ultron, they talk about how Wanda's powers, especially the mind manipulation and visions, come directly from the Mind Stone. Could she in some way have given some of her strength to Vision to create a whole new version of him, using the old body as the foundation? But could it also be possible that with Wanda's newfound powers, that in her grief she rebuilt the Mind Stone entirely, solely for the purpose of bringing Vision back? The Mind Stone was hinted at in the trailer, appearing to form and possibly even explode in front of Wanda. Could this mean that she possibly built an unstable version or found a cheap copy that is causing all the issues in Westview? But then again, this could just be Vision's corpse being manipulated by Wanda, forced to look alive and reshaped by her reality-bending powers. In part, this seems most likely, because when Wanda loses a bit of control, her powers seem to slip, and she sees Vision's undead corpse, exactly as Thanos left it, with the Mind Stone missing. No matter the cause of his return, without the direct influence of Wanda and the hex surrounding Westview, Vision does not seem to be able to survive, being torn apart as soon as he exits. He may still seem to be alive as he exits Westview, but this might just be a residual image that lost connection to its power source. This brings up the problem that Vision may just be dead forever, but perhaps there are other ways after these events, whether Wanda overcomes her grief or if she spreads her influence across the world as a whole, that Vision may find other ways to return. They could go back to Wakanda and retry what they attempted to do in Infinity War. But even then, without the Mind Stone, he could be nothing like he was before, just another automaton mirroring his first resurrection in the comics. But with some of the things Vision has said, the Mind Stone may be missing either way. He doesn't remember anything prior to Westview, not his life as Jarvis, nor his birth at Ultron's hands, or any of the events leading up to or in Infinity War. However, he does remember his love for Wanda, so how much of him is him, and how much of him is Wanda? The other big and a little bit more surprising resurrection, Quicksilver, or Pietro as he is known in the MCU, is a bit more complicated. He has been dead for 7 years or so after dying a hero in Age of Ultron, but even with that, his face is new, yet also old. It has been said many times before, this is not the Quicksilver from the MCU, but from X-Men. There are quite a few theories out there of who he is or could be. Could this recast be important to the MCU and Disney's purchase of X-Men, or a simple Easter egg for the fans? I for one hope it is not just an Easter egg. I would love to see this as how the X-Men enter the MCU. And with Wanda recognizing Pietro, but also knowing that this Pietro is different, It may be a sign that despite the different universes, there is still a bond there. We're still not sure how the X-Men will enter the MCU, if they will get a reboot, or if they will find a door to enter the universe. But with this version of Quicksilver, and the rumors of doors opening across the multiverse, it could be a great opportunity for a new era of the MCU. There are, however, some things that Quicksilver have said that make this seem like it might be unlikely. For example, his knowledge of events that he was not a part of, and his supposed inability to remember his past correctly. Could it be that this is not Quicksilver, and he's back by different means? At this time, this seems to be the more likely conclusion. Quicksilver is either a creation of Wanda that she has less control over due to her anger and grief, or a disguise or tool of an even more powerful being seeking to enter the world or control Wanda. If he is a creation of Wanda, he is like the twins, made from her sheer willpower, shaped into who she wants him to be. Opposite of the theory that Vision is just a corpse being puppeted by Wanda, it is unlikely that Pietro is a corpse reanimated, as the visage of him dead seems to be fairly fresh compared to how he would look after 7 years. So it seems that possibly the controlling villains option seems to be the most likely. The two most probable villains that seem to be pulling Pietro's and Wanda's strings are Mephisto or Nightmare. Mephisto, an extra-dimensional demon known for being a large part of the problems that occur in House of M, may be using Wanda to boost his power and influence. He may be even working with Agatha Harkness, who may still be disguised as Agnes. Both of them could be influencing Wanda's power, enhancing them to shape reality and gain control of people's minds. The harm that the Westview anomaly is causing the people in the town may be directly in line with Mephisto using their pain to boost his own power. Some have speculated that Pietro's over-the-top costume, and even some of the Halloween decorations, may have speculated that this is a hint that he is Mephisto. But then again, some think that he may be Nightmare or even a projection of Nightmare. This would be interesting, because Nightmare may not have been part of these events from the start, which may be the reason why we didn't see Quicksilver until the 5th episode. Vision makes a point to ask where the children are, and we learn there are children, but they are being kept out of sight and out of mind until they have a reason to appear in Wanda's show. Since it seems they had been kept asleep, they most likely did not sleep peacefully, as the control Wanda has seems to hurt people. Nightmare may have used the children's bad dreams to escape the dream dimension and enter into our world. If it does end up being either Mephisto or Nightmare, this could simply be their debut into the MCU, as they are both powerful villains that could come back in the multiverse of madness, or even welcome other villains such as the sorcerer Dr. Doom, especially if Monica's contact is Reed Richards. Or it could also open up the doors for heroes such as Ghost Rider. Quicksilver's new origin is shrouded in mystery, and it could become one of the most important roles in the MCU to date. And it could also set up possible world-changing events for Phase 4. Death has never been the end in Marvel Comics, and this seems to be the case more and more in the MCU. This could lead many who have gone to the grave to come back, and it also means that the return could take many forms. What other characters that have died would you like to see return? Do you think that this is really Vision and Pietro, or do you think that they are dead and this is merely a trick? What do you hope happens in Wandavision as it comes to a close? Thank you so much for watching. Please like this video and subscribe to join our team, and have a great day.